Hello and welcome to the Arsenal BiteSize Podcast. I'm your host Clayton at ClaytonsAFC on Twitter, and I'm joined by my co-host at FPL Nima. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, man, really good. Thank you. Good to see you, buddy. Looking forward
Yeah,
to
you
reviewing
too.
this big game together.
Yeah, sorry we're more than 6 minutes late. We tried to schedule it to go at 10:06 for obvious reasons, but couldn't quite stick to the schedule like West Ham fans. So yeah, here we are. Fuck me, what? I don't even know where to start. Like Sunday was one of the most bonkers games of football I think I've ever been at. I think it's my best away game I've done. Just like, yeah. Should I
It
just
has
get
to be,
straight into it,
right?
like how I
I was
got
gonna
it?
say it has to be because isn't it like a record-breaking away game in the sense that it's the largest away win in the league for us in like since like 1930 or something, something
Yeah,
crazy like
I
that.
know, like, this is where I wish I like did my research on stats and stuff because I've heard so many different stats doing the rounds. Uncle Mike's in the chat. Morning, lads. Uncle Mike actually had surgery on his knee, so hope you're recovering well, mate. But I'm sure Uncle Mike's got all the stats. I know you usually look at the match reports and stuff. I think I saw there's a
Yeah,
few in there.
some
If
good
you could have a
ones.
look at that. In the
Yeah, but
meantime,
why
we've
don't you
got
start telling us about your experience? So obviously, I'm gonna just
will do.
timestamp to
Yeah,
one
just
minute
wanted.
30.
Yeah, just wanted to shout out Delia's in as well. Good morning, guys. But yeah, before we get into the actual game, I'll touch on a little bit about
Because
the
obviously,
experience
I
of the
just saw
game.
you were leaving to go there, and like you got a ticket last minute, right? So it was all very
Yeah, literally.
exciting.
So it was like 11 a.m., right? And obviously, for in the UK, it was a 2 p.m. kickoff. And I'm not going to say where I live, but I live like North London. The game was obviously in East London, but I was at my parents' house, and I was literally having a shit. Right, I was on the toilet. Just get a phone call from my old football manager, who's a big Arsenal fan, and he's like, "Oh, Clayton, I'm so hungover. Do you want my ticket?" And I was like, "Fuck yes!" So I literally finish up, jump in the shower, and obviously I'll get. He lives like 20 minutes from my parents' house, again in North London. So I was like, the context of everything was it's 11 a.m. By the time I was like finished, showered, everything was like quarter to 12. And I was like, fuck, I'm like race against the clock here. So I ran to my mates to get the ticket, got that all sorted. Then another mate who I messaged as soon as I got the ticket, he wanted a lift to Southgate station. So I parked at Southgate because there was no bloody what's the line that you get to Stratford? Like the Hackney Wick line, that overground one.
Wow, I've not even heard of that one. Yeah, is it the Orange Line?
The orange line, yeah. What
Yeah,
line is
yeah.
that?
I
But
think that is just called Overground. Yeah, yeah.
oh, it's just overground, yeah. But like that wasn't running for some reason. So literally like ran to Southgate, Piccadilly line all the way to Finsbury Park, changed there to get to King's Cross. And we had to get the bloody train that was going to Dover to get to Stratford International. We get to Stratford International at like 1:40 or so. No, sorry, I tell a lie. We got to King's Cross, yeah, and we were too complacent. It was like 1:15, and we were like, oh, let's have a beer. Have a beer. And it's like,
No way.
shit.
45
Trains are
minutes before kickoff, you were having a
yeah.
beer in King's Cross.
Yeah, and but we didn't realize the trains were like, we just assumed they'd be like every 2-3 minutes. So we literally got a pint. I remember it so clearly. It was like 1:07, and the train was like 1:12. So I literally got a pint of Guinness, sank it, ran to the train, and it was just full of West Ham fans. And we're like, oh, fuck it now. And then, yeah, get to international, and I think it was like 1:30. But then the mates I was with, they walk so slow. It took us 35 minutes to walk to the stadium. So I missed the first 5 minutes, but then got in there. And like, have you ever been to the Olympic Stadium for any football or sport events?
Not recently. I think I went there closer to when the Olympics happened, but it's been a
Yeah,
long time. Obviously, I don't think I've been there since it was properly converted into like the West Ham Stadium.
right. It's a really weird stadium. Like obviously I went in the Carabao Cup when we lost, but this was a much more enjoyable experience. But I had a very similar seat. It was like the upper tier. And you do feel like you're in another postcode. Like you really like I think I
It's
can't remember if I
huge,
told
right? And it feels like you're quite far from the pitch because of obviously where they
so
previously had
far.
the athletic
Yeah.
track on it, right?
Yeah, massively. And like I think I tweeted a picture of it if people want to have a look. But there's that. And then also in terms of like being in the away end, it's really hard to get songs going and stuff. And I think I always say like I genuinely think we've got one of the best away fan bases in the country. Like I really do. And at West Ham, it's really hard because you've got the lower tier, which are so separated from the upper tier. So it's almost like you've got two sets of fans, and it's like it's quite hard to get momentum going in terms of like singing songs and stuff. And a similar but different experience to Wolves away, where Wolves is just one whole stand. You just got the lower tier. So, in some grounds, like you're just boxed in, there's 3 to 5 thousand of you, and like it really helps get the atmosphere going. I think with grounds like West Ham and Wolves, it's quite hard because you're dispersed. But anyway, that was my morning get there. And then like going into the actual game, it was, I didn't know what the lineup was. I didn't know Tommy wasn't in the squad. I didn't know Jesus wasn't in the squad because I was like rushing 100 miles an hour. So I literally get there and I'm like trying to look on the pitch, like, okay, who's playing this, that? And it was only half
You're
time.
like, oh, where's Jorginho? Oh, there's Kivio. Like, oh, Trossard and Havertz. It's like, what is going on?
And,
It was crazy when I saw the lineup and saw the bench. I remember just thinking, damn, that's like 7 first-team players not in the squad. Like that's.
and again,
I was thinking, how can we change this game? I was like, if we bring anyone on, I was like, what? We're gonna bring on Eddie
Nelson
and
and Eddie.
Nelson?
Yeah.
Like that's it? Like no Smith Rowe again. So I was like, honestly, pre-game, I was like, oh my God, if we need something to change this, what the fuck are we gonna do?
Yeah, I was the same one. Once I clocked what the squad was, but yeah, I guess that's probably a good segue to go into it, right? Like, lineup comes out, and it was obviously standard, really. Well, it wasn't really standard, actually, was it? It was Raya in goal, back four. 3 of the back 4 were standard, and White, Saliba, Gabriel, and then Kivio obviously played. There was a lot of uncertainty around, like, is Zinchenko a doubt? Is Tommy back? But Kivio got the nod, and neither Zinchenko or Tommy were in the squad. Midfield 3, he went with Rice, Odegaard, Havertz. I thought he'd go Jorginho, but he didn't do that. And then front 3, there was no Jesus, so it was Saka, Trossard, Martinelli. What was your... So you kind of touched on it there, but when the lineup came out, what was your kind of initial thoughts and stuff?
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out who was playing through the middle. Like I wasn't sure before the game started whether it was still Havertz and Trossard was playing left centre mid, or
Sure.
if it was the other way around. And I was convinced that the kind of the new, like the dual 10s everyone's been talking about with Odegaard and Havertz in that kind of 4-2-2-2 against Liverpool that we've been trotting out. It didn't feel like this was the same system, but it felt like something had been tweaked. And I just couldn't get my head around, like, what has he tweaked? Something felt interesting and exciting and new.
About
like
the
some kind
lineup,
of
or once you saw it playing out?
Well, once I saw it playing out, but at the time I wasn't sure. Like, it just seemed like our standard 4-3-3. I thought, oh, like he's just playing with who's fit because that's how, thin the bench was. But when I then actually saw us playing, I was like, oh, right, okay, like, this is actually quite interesting. Like, obviously, we saw Ben White was kind of playing in a more inverting from the right role rather than having the left back invert.
Yeah,
and it just, everything seemed so different. Like, Odegaard was very deep. There was times when I actually felt like watching Havertz, Trossard, and Odegaard, it was like, we were talking about the 2 10s against Liverpool. I felt like there was times when there was like 3 10s.
Yeah,
all
well,
in that 10 space.
And
it
I
was
think
crazy.
what you said combined with what Uncle Mike said in the chat about like Uncle Mike was worried about final third ball progression without Zinny Jorginho. And I know he's saying final third there, but I think that's a big reason why Odegaard was dropping and linking play, because we've seen that a few times, right? The one that really sticks in my mind was Wolves at home, where he started doing that. I think it was Brighton as well was another one. And I think that was because there was no Zinny Jorginho. And to be honest, I looked at it as I thought it was very much a similar system. We just flipped it where Kivio played as a natural fullback and White did the Zinchenko thing, to be honest. And then I think there was just natural fluidity, which we have in our team anyway, where you see Trossard dropping deep and people running into space, like for the penalty.
I think it just looked more fluid than I've seen, right? So for me,
agree.
It looked like the football of last year for some reason again. Like it was very fluid, very rapid. I felt at times this season we've been a bit slow on the ball, slow to release it. It felt like they were a real team. And I think the best example is like, it felt like if someone was out of position, other players would immediately know to go and take that position for them. And just the way they celebrated the kind of defensive action right at the end to try and maintain the clean sheet at 6-0 up. I remember seeing like when they took the shot and Raya made the save, and I think Gabriel also cleared it. There's a clip I saw, a video clip where like 6 of them all run onto the line. It's like the way they just move, like it's just there's not even a thought needed. It's just it's like telepathic. Like they're like, no, clean sheet. 6 man just run onto the goal line. Like one thing that kind of connection. I've not seen it for a while. I just felt like it was missing.
I agree. One thing I want to add, which you make a really good point. You know, when you said like it felt more fluid, it felt like more of a team. If someone vacated a position, someone else would go there. You know what the best example for that was for me? There was a period where White kind of went into Saliba's lane And then Saliba actually went into the right half space and he was driving with the ball. And again, it was more like the framework's there. People know in different zones what sort of profile is required and what they're expected to deliver. So even when Saliba moved into that area, he drove with the ball forward, and it was just
they
it's
change what
total
they're
football.
doing in game based on where they're now in. Yeah, like they'll fill each other's spaces, but then also not just fill it and do it their way. They'll fill it and do it the way the actual player who's meant to be there does it.
Yeah,
Now that's
it's
a
really
team that love
encouraging.
each other do that, but I think a team that maybe like we talk about, like say like a Chelsea where we say there may be more individuals than a team. I don't see people like breaking sweat for each other to
No,
cover one another if someone's out of position. Do you know what I mean?
no, not at all. And I feel
But
like
just
this
in
is
terms of attacking wise as
go
well, I
for it.
think I was just like in shock. I think obviously when Saka stepped up for the penalty, I was a bit like, we've been here before. Like it was only April last year that I remember being 2-0 up and not winning that game. So I felt a bit nervous, but it also made me just realize that, wow, this boy, 22 years old, about to
What he's
score
doing
his
is a joke.
well, I think it was his 50th goal for the club, and he was just about to score. And at the end, when they interviewed him, man, like he was like his face, the way it showed,
I
like he didn't even
saw.
know there was a record. They were like, "Oh,
I had
did you
like
know that was your
butterflies.
50th goal?" And then suddenly he like goes to like a smile, and he's like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, it was
It's
so
just like so
genuine.
sweet and genuine. But then the fact that he was still not content as well, he's like, "No, like I should have finished a few more of the chances." I thought
Should
there was
have.
a header he took that
Yeah.
I thought that the head wasn't a great header,
Well,
but
should we
that
go into
delivery.
the
Yeah, should we go into the
timeline of?
match actually?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's go into the timeline.
nice one. So,
Wow, that looks
yeah,
disgusting.
mate, this time we could be here for 4 hours going through this timeline. But I've got a couple of questions I actually want to ask you about, like before the first goal. But
Oh yeah, of course.
for the podcast listeners, stats from the game: we finally cashed in on XG. We finally scored more goals than our XG. So it was obviously 6-0. XG, according to Mark, our stats model, was West Ham created a whopping 0.18. We had 3.47. Threat was 0.33 to 3.18. We had 70% possession to their 30. Defensive action, field tilt was 78.4 to their 21.6. That's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, as you can see from the graph, like this is a game where you do not need stats to back up what happened, right? Because like we all watched it, like, but it's more what I'm interested in is before the first goal, how did you feel about the nature of the game and stuff like that? And obviously you touched on like we did have a few chances, right? There was Trossard's header, Trossard's volley, great save. Was
There
Saka's
was
header
Saka's header
before the
as well.
first goal?
I think so. It was probably around the 15th to 20th minute. So I
Sure.
think that's just before because we only started scoring after about 30 minutes, right? So yeah, I think it was.
Reason I ask your opinion is I felt very chill. I thought we were creating chances, and even though I didn't think, like I said to Sudge, who's obviously a West Ham fan, and work's been funny this week. I said to Sudge, like I didn't think in the first half hour it was going to turn out to be a 4-6-0 game, but I did feel confident that we were going to score like a couple. But there were people behind me in the ground moaning and groaning, like Arsenal fans. With like how we were playing. So that's why I wanted your opinion, because I was very comfortable with what I was seeing in front of me and thought it was a matter of time. But how did you feel watching it?
Yeah, no, I think for the first 15 to 20 minutes, I felt frustrated, like, because I remember like it was maybe 5 minutes in or less. There was a moment where Saka received the ball on the right wing, and we talk about him being doubled up on and stuff. But I remember looking to see, okay, can he like deliver it into the box to someone? And I just looked, and there was like,
Was there no one there?
I genuinely counted, right? And there was 6 players blocking his chance to like cross the ball into the fucking
Damn.
box. And I was like, wow, this is going to be a long day. I just remember so there was a few moments where I was like, no way. I was like, surely they can't maintain this discipline for this long. I was like, if they're going to put 6 man on that side to watch Saka cross a ball in, surely there's going to be space somewhere else on the pitch for us to, expose them. But it just felt like the same old shit that like, I was like, for the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh no, like, and I don't think we really made much of like a chance of note until about 20, 30 minutes in. So that you can even see on like the cumulative XG, like it's quite flat for the first, I'd say 20 minutes, and then it starts to climb. Like there's maybe one big chance there, 2 big chances. But it's once that first goal went in, it just started to feel inevitable.
Mate,
Like
have you
it was
ever
just
seen?
crazy.
Yeah, like Well, so let's go through it. So first goal, one thing again, I want to point out, which I think is again a very, I've got these random things that I remember, which are people would say are somewhat irrelevant, but the passage of play that led to us getting that corner. The one thing and I've been quite critical of Havertz's kind of lack of intensity in the areas he picks up. Right, I really think he's coming into his own in that, and like this game, this goal. I remember it was either Rice or Saliba passed the ball nicely into Havertz, who was in a pocket in the left half space. And then he was the one that actually drove the ball forward, and then like a few things happened, and we got the corner. But it was more what you said earlier about like that positional freedom of the team. Like I'm finally seeing him picking up the ball consistently in areas, and I still think there's sometimes on the ball like he looks a little bit lackadaisical. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing there. But yeah, that was just something random that was in my head.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyway,
I think he looks very good as well. I think him and Raya are starting to settle. I think Mike
yeah,
has
and
said here as well,
Mike's
like first time Raya looks accepted, right? So
big time.
yeah, no, I just feel like he's felt like he's always been playing with some pressure that like
Who Raya will have it?
yeah, it's like kind of like this Raya, both of them, but Raya because he's kind of like displaced the fan favorite. At least with Havertz, he's replaced someone who's no longer here, so
Yeah,
he's not having to listen to people saying, "Oh, the other guy should start." The other guy's not here anymore. Like Xhaka's gone, right? So you just got to live with that. But with Ramsdale, people still push for him to be starting, right?
yeah,
But I just think from what I've been seeing these last few games from Raya, it shows me that like maybe it didn't feel like it was a huge ceiling raiser, but I'm already starting to feel like there's a reason we don't concede many chances on goal. Like these guys had one shot on goal. I think we've had
yeah.
2 shots allowed on goal in the last 180 minutes of
I've
football. Like
seen that. Yeah,
it's just crazy. Like we reduced both Liverpool and City coming to the Emirates to 1 shot on target each as well. So like there's clearly
and
something
people
in the
laugh
way that
why I have
Riot's
triple Arsenal defense in fantasy.
yeah, and like obviously, people like don't I think accept that Raya is very good at claiming these deep crosses. Like the way he just comes out and he's proactive, and the
He's
speed
got
at
a
which
weird
he starts the
spring, don't he?
counters.
Like the way how we say Rice's legs extend. It's almost like Raya's torso and arms do when he goes to collect the ball.
I just suddenly see him like grabbing these balls in the air, and I'm like, oh, I've not seen this for a few years at Arsenal. Like I'm not used to
Yeah,
this.
and I
And I think
think
there's actually numbers that back it. So like I think there was some numbers of like last season, like Ramsdale's catches or claims from crosses. It was something like 7-8%, and for Raya it's like 15 to 20%. So
damn.
there's like there are metrics there that are showing that like he is consistently
But
claiming
this
these
is the
crosses.
thing I was saying earlier in the season as well. When he was making the mistakes, I was in the camp of like, yeah, sure, like he may not be the biggest upgrade, but profile wise, it's a clear shift in where we're looking to go. But now I think you're seeing, like you say, he's playing with less pressure. He's coming into his own. I think his confidence is growing. He looks like he belongs here. And for me, it's the key things, like you say, with the claims from crosses. The other big thing is when we used to face shots, Ramsdale would parry, Raya catches it, and it's a chance for us to then control. He offers himself out as like a third centre back option, which
That's what
loads
I
of
was gonna
people have
say. I
commented
feel
on.
like the speed, like the quickness of his feet, I do feel it allows us to also sustain pressure and to prevent chances on us. Now, I still think Ramsdale is a better shot stopper. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
I think we're trying to
but
play in a way where like we
we
shouldn't be
don't
needing
concede
to
too many
make these
shots.
Hollywood saves. Yeah, like we shouldn't have to
Exactly.
be making loads of saves to survive a game. That we should just be suffocating people and not giving them any chances. And
Yeah.
I honestly feel that we right now I think it's hard to see a case for why we're not in the top 2 or 3 defenses in Europe.
Oh
Like,
no,
I just don't see
absolutely
how. I'd say we're by numbers the best defense in the Premier League.
agree.
So
It's
then
not
you
even
go
a
to maybe
it's not
some.
even a
Yeah, that's
conversation
not
for me.
even a debate, but maybe some Italian clubs because I know I love me some good old Italian defense. But maybe I put 1 or 2 Italian teams like there with us. But overall, like the XG we concede per 90, it is bottom 2 or bottom 3 in the entire European top 5 divisions. It's
Yeah, and
crazy. Like, who would have thought we'd come this far? We were a team that was very
literally,
much like
we'd go get
outscore your
slapped
opponent.
6-0 everywhere we go, and now we're
We've had
doing it to
games
other
where we're
teams.
4-0 up, right? And then we've drawn like 4-4 and things like that. So,
Wow, it made me laugh on Sunday. One of the guys in front of me was actually at Newcastle away.
Oh shit!
2012,
Was it 2012? Yeah, I remember. It
something
was
like
like
that.
Boxing Day or something. It was like near Christmas.
Yeah, and I can't remember what time of year it was, but I remember it was 4-0 up, and then obviously Tiote, who sadly passed away, he scored to make it 4-4, didn't he? But yeah, it was less of that on Sunday. But yeah, on the topic of our defense, it's like I think it's one thing with how solid we are defensively, but then the effect that these guys are able to have from set pieces is a joke. And obviously that's how we went 1-0 up, and it's another metric where we're flying in the league from set pieces. And you could see it coming, right? Because we had a few corners before the goal, and it's like they were really looping it in there. And then
How
obviously
do you feel
Saliba
about
gets sent.
Declan Rice being the one to deliver it? Because
I
obviously
love it.
Martinelli used to take those corners on that side, but now it seems that Rice is not just taking corners; he's taking like free kicks as well. Like he's starting to
See it
take
with his
over loads
delivery.
of pieces, set
Yeah.
pieces, right?
Like, I heard it on Match of the Day too. It was something like Declan Rice had taken like 2 or 3 corners pre Dubai, and then since then I think it's been like 12 in 3 games or something. So
Yeah, and he also got
I
two
love it.
assists in this game, one from a corner, one from a set piece, and he scored. But like for
Yeah,
me, the reason I mention his corners is I do wonder if in the past I always just thought of him as like a really big guy, so I assumed you'd want him in the box. But we
and
have a big, strong physical team, so like there are enough big guys in the
he's
box,
got an
like a
excellent
Gabriel or a
delivery.
Saliba or a Havertz. Like there are big, strong men in there. Like if he's got delivery like that, I think I was seeing when one of the ex-players was talking about him. It might have been Rio or someone, and they were saying that just the way he whips it in,
Yeah,
the whip on it
clean.
is disgusting.
A
He's like
swerve.
attackers want that, defenders are panicking. Like no defender wants to be receiving a ball whipped in like that. And
Yeah,
he kind of compared it to. He said it's not quite doesn't look like a David Beckham delivery,
I was just
but he
gonna
said
say it's
it.
like a
Yeah,
Beckham.
he said it's not quite there, but it's definitely like a Ward-Prowse delivery. And all
Yeah,
these years, people are talking about Ward-Prowse being the best set piece specialist or dead ball specialist in the league. So to think like he's come here and he's potentially already outdoing his goal assist contributions in a season in his
yeah.
career, and he's still got like a third of the season to go. I just feel like I loved Rice so much, and I didn't know there was all these other things that we would help him
Same.
evolve to do,
Yeah,
like
and
skill sets that he didn't
and
have maybe
and it's
before or didn't
something
use.
with yeah, I agree, and it's something that as his career develops with Arsenal, I think we'll continue to see him add things to his game. He's just got that thing about him where you can tell he's got that attitude that if the coach sees something, he has got the ability to learn and implement, which I don't think like with Bellingham, he's someone I look at like I back that guy to add whatever he needs to his game because he's got talent, but the attitude and belief to implement stuff. And I think Rice is the same. I think this guy is going to be a freak for us, but yeah, we could spend ages talking about him, and we'll come
Yeah,
back to him
Rice, we
because
could
of
just
his
talk
goal. But
about the whole game, but we'll come back to him on his
yes,
goal today. So I think Saliba's goal, obviously, that was when I felt like, as I say, like for the first 20, 30 minutes, it didn't feel like the chances were too meaningful. But once that goal went in, it really started to escalate. What did you notice about obviously the penalty? I just think was the ball from Trossard from deep. He
it
found
was from
Saka who
Trossard. Yeah,
ran in.
what
Yeah,
a
like I
ball!
thought that was a fantastic ball. Yeah. So
Yeah,
again,
again
like
though, in the
Trossard, like
ground.
he's been
Oh, sorry,
unreal since Dubai as well. I was just gonna say because I feel like sometimes we're nervous that like are these players gonna maintain the levels, and it just
he's
feels
been
like
fantastic.
everyone's better since Dubai. Like
Yeah,
we're the only club apart from City to have 100% win record since Dubai.
really.
As in since the winter break, only Arsenal and City in the Premier League have got all wins.
And this is the thing, I don't want to speak too early, but like we had a lot of conversations earlier in the year about earlier in the season, sorry, about clicking at the right time and stuff. And it does feel like we're coming into our gears now. And like you get Timber back, you get Party back. If you have Smith Rowe available, like I saw a tweet from that Mo Arsenal
Yeah,
saying
Mo,
for
did
the
you see that? That
first
was quite exciting.
yeah, so for anyone that's not seen it, a guy who's like fairly well connected said that for the first time this season, next month Arsenal are looking to have a fully fit and available squad. And like if that happens around March, when you're kind of in the 10 to 12 games left in the Premier League, you're halfway through the Champions League, round of 16, looking at the quarters, that's the right time for it to be happening. So yeah,
I can't wait. I hope that all goes well.
but yeah,
It
so obviously
sounds
Trossard,
like we're close to that. But yeah,
yeah,
Trossard,
Trossard,
fantastic ball to obviously get Saka through and find him, and then like Saka obviously wins the penalty, gets
Yeah.
taken
What
out.
I was
But
confused on though, in the ground, it wasn't clear because we were on the complete other end. So we saw the collision, heard a whistle, but it, like, because even on TV when I watched the highlights, the ref didn't exactly go like clearly. It's like his arm was like that. So
yeah,
I
it was
was
a
like,
bit
has
weird.
he
I
given
thought
a
he was
penalty?
focused on.
Has he
So,
faced
so
it
the
through?
reason
Has he
I
given a
think he
free
gave a
kick?
yellow card, right? So
Yeah,
I
but it
I,
wasn't
I think
in
because
the
it was the
ground. It
goalkeeper
wasn't
got the
clear
yellow,
at
right?
all.
So for me, the reason I assumed it was a penalty was just like it felt like he wasn't like pointing at the spot, as you say. Maybe he was waiting to see if it was onside or something. I don't know, waiting for
Right.
VAR, but he'd given like the yellow. That's like I immediately noticed. Like he was like, okay, no, like
So we
this
couldn't
is
even see that. We were genuinely for a few minutes like, what's going on? Has he been sent off? Has he? Yeah.
yeah, no, honestly. So obviously the penalty came in. I did think to myself when that penalty came up, I was like, is he going to give it to someone else? I was like, he's
Nah.
won it. I was like, he's won it. Does he now feel? Because there
Last
was a
year would have been in
long
his
wait,
mind.
but there was a long fucking wait, man. Like that's what I mean. So there was, like by the time like they were like, okay, like yeah, everything looks fine. You can take the penalty. It felt like hours to me. I don't know. To be fair, did you see how much injury time there was? I think half
Yeah.
of it was that VAR check for the penalty. So it's
Well,
like
this.
7 minutes extra time.
So obviously we go 2-0 up, right? It's the 41st minute. Like you say, there's so many minutes added time. So one of my mates, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a few beers for us. Do you want one?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "I'll come down in a minute." And then he missed both goals. So,
So I think what happened was in that spell before the half time, at 2-0 up, I was like, this is great. We're going to go into half time. We then scored 3 goals in 6 minutes.
yeah.
In 6 minutes. And it was still the first half. At that point, I was like, no way. Like, if you're West Ham, like, what is the team talk even when you go in at half time? What?
Yeah.
How do you even save this? Like, this is a bad moment for them. But yeah, no. So obviously, talking of the other goals, did you see? Was the third goal? Was that Gabriel?
That third goal was Gabriel, yeah.
Yeah, so Gabriel, I think someone mentioned this. Maybe it was Arsenal Vision guys. Maybe it was Elliot or Clive. It's all about how like recently, when you're seeing people taking like sometimes free kicks, you'll see like there's always that Odegaard standing over it with someone else, like maybe Rice, and then like Gabriel just kind of goes over and like chats to them about
I saw
something.
this on Match of the Day. They actually
Yeah, like he
pointed
just
that
kind of
out.
chats to them. Then he goes back into the box, and then he tells the players in the box something.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like. And he's done this in a few games in a row now. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what is he telling them? Is he just telling them, look, trust me, just give it to me. Trust me. You know you want to give it to me. What is happening? Because people like the reason I asked this, right, is that he has scored the most goals from set pieces in the
Yeah.
Premier League since he arrived of any
Yep.
player. And I think this is what these guys were saying, Clive and Elliot. That includes players who've been scoring from direct free kicks like Salah and Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
He's been doing all 14 of them in the league.
That's
From being the
nuts.
guy in the box, not from taking the set piece.
Yeah.
So
I think
he's
to your
got that.
question, it's clearly
But
like Nick.
But like how? Like this is what I want to know because like if he's
Well,
doing it
we're
this
so good.
consistently,
We are.
surely teams are prepared for it.
Well, yeah, they can prepare all
So
they
how
want,
does
but
he
like I
still
think.
do it?
Well, I think it's our coaching staff, right? Like our coaching staff go to such a level of detail and planning that I think supersedes everyone else in the league, and you can see it like the minute details and the specificities of what and how we do things is so unique. And like to your point, like what's he saying? I think it's clearly they've got like plan A, B, C, D, E. He'll go over to Rice, say, all right, we'll go with this one, and then he communicates it to the others. I think it's as simple as that. But it's like you could say the same with like everyone knows how we try to play football. Good luck still trying to stop it, and that's why everyone's parking a bus. It's the same with set pieces. Like people will be trying to stop it, but we're so innovative in what we do and how we do things that it's hard to keep up. And
But like
yeah,
even like Ben White, right? So like I think these guys were saying on their pod, they were like, surely after the last few seasons, especially when like the Trossard goal got ruled out last year because of Ben White holding the hand of the goalkeeper, they're like, surely if you're a team about to face Arsenal, yeah, and you've prepped all week, surely the one thing you know that you shouldn't be doing as defenders is letting Ben White just be there causing nuisance in front of your goalkeeper. But when you watch it, they just leave him to like fuck
but
around with
it's.
Areola. And
I'm
it's
glad.
like they don't. I don't
I'm
understand
glad you
what.
brought.
How can they not prep that? Like what the fuck?
I'm glad you brought that up though, because teams have tried to do that, and then this is where we're so smart. when teams then go and block Ben White, we've got numerical advantages elsewhere in the box. So it's like teams are fucked against us from set pieces. You cannot stop us. Like, we will find a way always.
But people told us set piece goals aren't goals, right? All season we've been hearing about how Arsenal doesn't score enough goals. And after this kind of rampant display, I'm pretty sure we're close to on par with the goals scored of both City and Liverpool in the league this season. Plus, we have the best defense. So, that's crazy turnaround. Like, I do feel since the bye, we have been a different beast.
Yeah,
we needed that rest.
This game was also huge for like kind of stat padding, right, and kind of closing that gap. And like, if we were to go to Burnley next week and win 3-4-0, would people be surprised? I wouldn't. So I think it's just a case of like, in these games where we've got the opportunity to like really try and stick the knife to these teams. But yeah, so obviously that was the third goal. And even like in terms of like limbs and stuff, it was interesting. First goal, we all went mad because it's first goal. It's like the sigh of relief sort of thing.
Is that just relief, right?
Yeah. Second goal is a penalty, so like you've got that anticipation.
Third goal, anxiety as well, like just watching it.
Third goal, it was literally same again, like raucous, and and it was brilliant delivery from Rice, great header Gabriel. Fourth goal was like, I just love the way Odegaard.
You're like, how, like,
yeah, and this is the thing, like what I'm going to get to in a second. Like, Odegaard picks up the ball. I thought it was a really nice blindside run from Trossard. Actually, he actually went on the blindside of Zuma, and then like when he picks up the ball, he's able to turn in as Zuma's turning, and like those specific details creates the angle for him to curl it in, right? And once that goes in, like I could see that so clearly because it was literally like Leicester away where you can just see it curling in, and that's where we were just jumping, laughing. My mates obviously missed 2 goals. I've got 2 pints waiting for me at halftime, so I'm laughing. And we go into halftime, and like you said, what was it? 3 goals in 6 minutes. And we're genuinely, we're just like stunned. Like, what has just happened here? And like the game's done. Like, yeah, it was so surreal. And to be honest, it was at the point where we're thinking coming out in the second half, like, is he just going to change things at halftime and stuff? But yeah, what were you feeling going into halftime? If you can even try to describe it.
Yeah, no, I just felt like I was in a dream, to be completely honest with you. It was like everything I thought that we could do. And it just gave me so much more conviction in everything I've been saying for the last 2-3 seasons about the fact that we're only really 2 years into this project. And before that, it was all about decluttering the house and clearing out. Obviously, we talked about how we halved the wage bill. Like, our kind of wage to revenue ratio used to be about 76%. Yep. It's like 51%. We're much healthier in that regard compared to most of the other big 6 clubs who are in the 70% plus range for revenue to salaries. But it just felt like, and in all of that, we've also extended all the contracts of everyone we want, this young core. But one of my friends asked me, he said, "Oh, are you going to say like, Arsenal's still a young team, so you don't expect them to win this year?" I was like, yeah, they're young, but I'm not going to use that reason anymore. Yeah. Now I feel that they've matured together. Like, when you've got Bukayo Saka, the fastest player to like 50 goals for Arsenal,
100 goals,
100 goal contributions, at 22 years old. He's not started one league game in 3 seasons, or like he's not had minutes in one league game in 3 seasons. Like, it's like at 22 years old, and then of course I'm going to call them young, but they're not young anymore. These aren't like your 27, 28-year-old like Lingards where you're like, oh, it's a young talent, they're going to come good. My brother at 22 is already going crazy. So I'm like, now I just want to see him like play in the biggest stages. I want to see him play in the Champions League knockout.
Like, bring it on, man.
Yeah, and the reason I bring Saka up especially is because all season I've been hearing about how he's out of form, how he's having a stinker of a season. He's already matched his goal assist contribution of last season with 14 league games to go.
Has he?
Yeah. Like, my guy is on, I think it's like 14 goals, 13 assists across all comps. He's on 26 combined goal assists this season already. And there's still like a third of the season to go. Do you know what I mean? He's the top goal contributor in the Champions League on his first ever appearance in it. 7 goal contributions above Kane and everyone else. So, like, I just find it crazy, this narrative that, like, if he doesn't get a goal or assist every week, it's like, oh my God, he's out of form. He's not world class. He's crap. Okay, I understand he needs to achieve certain things to be definitively world class. But my guy's consistency is scoring, like, and assisting, and like he's on his, like, at that age. I don't understand how you can be such a leader. He is the face of Arsenal Football Club and England's national team.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild, like, for 22-year-old. So yeah, they're not young anymore. The reason I said all this is that it just felt like all this time I've been waiting for when we would click, when I could prove to all the fucking haters, all the people slandering our players, all the people slandering our coach, including our own goddamn delusional fans, some of them, that there is something amazing happening here.
Yeah,
like we are so like we are just at the tip of the iceberg.
Now, this is what I've said,
but it felt like not today. So this weekend, just for me, it was just that's what it was. So seeing 4-0 at halftime, you asked going in. Long story short, was it just felt like finally I had all the ammunition I need. Yeah, vindication. I was like, anyone tries to say shit to me now, I will berate them in their clubs because I am not taking shit from anyone else. Chelsea fans, United fans, Tottenham fans. No. Like, I am not, as I said it before, I'm not being gaslighted into this view that we're competing with Tottenham and Villa for top 4. Fuck that. We are in a title challenge. They keep coming out with things that make them feel better by saying, oh, you're going to win no trophies this year. Just shut the fuck up. I am so happy with our club and where it's going and the years ahead that are lying in store for us. And this game, for me, felt like that moment where we may look back at this, as you say, for the goal difference. And at the end of the season, this game may end up being a super important turning point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was at halftime, it felt like a statement. This is a team 100%. That was our bogey team. They knocked us out of the cup. They beat us at our stadium earlier this season. We drew to them to begin a collapse of the title challenge last year. It's like we're just taking all these like hoodoo off our shoulders and just this team don't seem fazed by anything. They're just they're relentless and they just believe in themselves. And yeah, I was honestly so exciting.
You could see that in the second half as well, the way we came out. I think previously I'd probably say we'd come out second half and it's 4-0. We'd probably just keep the ball, this and that. And you just see, like, for me, the fifth goal just summarizes the difference in this team, like, and ruthlessness, where Odegaard picks up the ball. Saka's in a nice space, sorry. Odegaard swivels it into Saka. I thought that was a really nice pass. And then Saka just drops the shoulder. And I don't know about you, but as he was about to take the shot, I was like, goal. And even in terms of like celebration, I literally just went like that. Like, I didn't even go mental. It was just like game's done. But this ruthlessness, and then literally fucking 2 minutes later, it had to be. It literally had to be.
I think he got subbed after that kick as well. So he was probably getting subbed off regardless.
Standing ovation.
I like obviously he didn't celebrate, and I think it would have been. I would have kind of questioned his mental capacity if, just 6 months after he left them, he's there like going nuts over the 6th goal in a 6-0 battering.
Funniest thing though was when he got the assist for a couple of goals, he celebrated. He did celebrate them, but obviously because he scored, fair play. But
I think when you score yourself like that, you gotta like avoid the drama. You don't want that drama.
Yeah.
But what's funny, by the way? So I've seen, I think it's Alan Shearer. He's come out, and this week they're complaining that we didn't celebrate enough.
I saw that.
They're saying Rice should have celebrated more.
Yeah, you can't win.
That's it. You can't win, man. You just can't.
But yeah, to be fair though, like you said, it's the 6th goal in a dead rubber game. Like, you're not going to go mental. Like I said, for the 5th goal, I was a fan there, and me as a fan, like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like,
but it's what I mean. Like, it's not like Anthony playing in some League Cup or FA Cup against that Newport County, going nuts over his fucking only goal of the season or something. Like, I just think some players embarrass themselves when they don't have the kind of mental awareness that they just have some self-awareness. Like, it's your first goal, bruv.
Yeah, what a goal that was, and that just kind of
the curl on that as well, man. And he got the long range screamer as well against Luton, was it? He obviously got us the winner against United. Oh, that was the header. So was it? There was the deflected screamer against United to win it in the death.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a screamer, but still, like, it was. Yeah,
it's a screamer in the context. First goal for the club is the winner against Man United, who Garnacho they thought had won it for the minutes prior. Like, in terms of like really just watching the pain in someone, I know United fans suffered that day. I know they suffered.
I think what I loved about this 6th goal as well is like you see everyone's reactions and you see Saka like that.
Oh, yeah, so Saka and Odegaard are there like their hands on their head.
Odegaard and Trossard were obviously like both 50-50 going for the ball and stuff. And that
Did you see Ben White?
I don't think I've actually, no.
He just suddenly stands, like he sees Rice going past him to the flag, and then he just like stands, stops, and just starts clapping. he just cracks me up, man.
But yeah,
Oh, I
just and
love
then
it.
just to like kind of wrap up, obviously it's 6-0,
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
it's nice we could just flex the squad. Like we took off Rice, Trossard, Saka. Finally took off Saka with like more than just 10 minutes to go. El Neni came on, like that says it all. It was a game
He
where
took a
literally
few
El Neni.
chances as well. He tried to get a couple
There
long
was
range.
one. There was one. I thought it was just going to be deja vu when it came out to him, and I think I literally started just singing it just to shit Declan Rice as a joke, and but yeah, it was nice to just be able to flex the squad. Obviously, I think Jorginho must have had a knock because if El Neni came on, then
Yeah, I think they said that the intensity of that Liverpool game to play the way he did, it
yeah, it took it
aggravated
out of him.
because he's had an injury for months. Apparently, this entire season he's been basically training with injury and
Really?
ready for every. So before this game he was only not available for one match day squad from the injury he has, but he's
Okay.
had this injury and he's carried it the whole time. And apparently he's ensured that he's always been available for such and every game bar
Fair play.
the weekend
Very
and one other one.
professional.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they're
fair
talking
play.
about like just the mentality he has to, despite that injury and pain, still always make sure he's available. So
Yeah, but yeah,
fair
so we
play.
made those subs, and then obviously with 13 minutes to go, we bring on the mighty Cedric Suarez and Ethan Nwaneri. Yeah, that's great to see him playing again, and I think he looks so comfortable and like he belongs
Yeah, I
at
don't
this
want to get
level.
excited because of the game state, but I like he doesn't look 16, right? Like he looks well filled out for his
His
age. He's in good
technical
physical shape.
ability, the way he moves with the ball, like his movement,
His composure, like I really wanted to see him score a goal, right? But I think that's like it's okay. Like I can live that. Now I know he came in at like it seemed like he was playing a bit like Saka's position on the right wing, so obviously that's
yeah,
also less dangerous than if he was playing like in the middle of the park. But he did
yeah.
find himself in some of the half spaces in the central areas. So and you know he actually I think it was who was it? It was Nelson came on like maybe 10 minutes earlier than him,
Yeah.
and I
Oh
think
wait,
by the
no.
end of the game, now Nwaneri had more touches than Nelson.
Really?
He completed more passes, had more touches. So again, it showed like Odegaard kept giving him the ball, and
Yeah.
they all felt comfortable. And I think obviously we heard afterwards Arteta said that the bench were saying to him, "Bring
Bring
on
him on.
Ethan, bring on
Yeah.
Ethan." So like since then, it sounds like Ramsdale's commented on a photo and said that it was Jorginho who was the one pushing for Ethan to come on. But
Oh, really?
so it's quite hilarious
You
because you
can
kind of
even
see
see it
that.
from social media though. Like Ethan obviously posted a photo, and like you see the comments of like Saka, Odegaard, Declan Rice saying special talent. Like you don't go and do stuff like that if you're not convinced. And you can. Do you know what it is with him? I've actually seen him in the academy and he stands out, but I think he's the sort of person that when you're playing with people that are like even better than you, it kind of brings out a better side of you, right? And it's like you think of it in any aspect of life, like when you work with people that are better than you improve your performance.
Yeah.
When you perform with people better than you, your performance improves. And I really think he's someone that, yeah, like don't want to get carried away, but fuck me, it's exciting.
Yeah. Like I don't expect him to be a starter anytime soon. And like, there's a world in which either he goes on loan next year or he's even more involved in the first team setup from next season. He's going to be 17 soon. The reason I just want to put into perspective how far he is from being a starter for us before people get carried away. So when he's Saka's age, it will be 2030. And we say Saka's young
Yeah.
to achieve what he's doing at 22. Now, how many other players have played any league minutes for Arsenal at 16? When I look back, there is only a handful, right? Like we've got
Yeah.
the Wilshire's of the world, the Fabregases of the world.
Fabregas,
Even
yeah.
across the league and other clubs, you have like the Wayne Rooney's of the world. There's very few young
Records are there
players.
to be broken.
Yeah. So like, but so obviously it's natural to connect him to other players. But before we wrap up, one thing I do want to say is that it was just the way he was gliding around with the
Yeah.
ball at his feet
His dribbling.
reminded me of someone who I always dreamed would become England captain, Arsenal captain. I thought he was going to be my hero forever, like
Wilshere.
10. Yeah, number 10 Wilshere, captain of Arsenal football. That's what I dreamed of. I wanted him to be. I thought he could win it all for us. And
Yeah.
injuries have wrecked his career, right? But in terms of just the profile, the way they're playing, I'm looking at that dribbling from Ethan. The way he just effortlessly releases the ball and
Yeah. He just
gliding
caresses
around the
the
pitch
ball.
when he
Yeah.
receives it. Yeah, like I'm just like, no, this is special. Like, obviously, there's a long way to go, as I say. Like 2030, he'll be Saka's age now. So I just really want to watch him develop, watch him slowly play with the men. And I think playing with that group, as you say, you're only going to get better if you're playing with these
100%.
players. And they're taking him under their wing, it looks like.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about him because there's no better indicator of how good a young player is than the players who see him training and whether they decide to give him the ball or not, right? So if the players are saying to the manager, put him on, and Odegaard's there passing him the ball every chance he gets, you start to think, okay, I've seen it before when someone's got a bad first touch and no one will pass them the ball, bro. I've seen players come on for us and everyone looks at them and then just turns and passes the other way.
Exactly.
So there's something in it that these players are passing to you in a Prem game.
I think it ties in quite nicely with what Delia says, and we'll kind of wrap up on this note.
Yeah, of course.
I don't even care if we don't win the title. I'm fully enjoying every match. I missed seeing the playing so beautiful. And I think it's that combined with like what you're saying about Ethan Nwaneri. Like, just enjoy it because, like, yeah, like, sure, we'll all be upset if we don't win the title, but that doesn't mean in isolation you shouldn't enjoy the Liverpool win. We just won 6-0 away from home. When is that going to happen again? Like, and you're seeing a youngster come in and really impress and kind of look like he belongs in men's football. Just enjoy it. Like, we can't control what will happen at the end of the season, right? And you'll beat yourself up if we don't win anything at the end of the season, but you also didn't enjoy stuff. Like last year, we didn't win the title. Bournemouth at home is still one of the best moments I've ever had at football. So, like, yeah, I really like what Delia said there, and I think it ties in nicely with like Nwaneri as well. I need to learn how to pronounce his name properly.
I think that just showed like that. Like, if there's any Arsenal fans who have something to complain about after last weekend, they need to get their head checked. I'm sorry, like I've seen people complaining about like Cedric coming on instead of like Royal Walters, and I'm like, bruv, like you are so out of touch. Like, I just don't even know what to tell you. Like, there's no helping people like that. I'm sorry. Like, if you're still complaining after a match like that, just because our rivals also got wins, well, guess what, mate? Like, Liverpool weren't going to fucking drop points to Burnley, bruv. Like, let's just be real. A Man City squad, which has the entire squad available for selection for the first time this season, was not going to lose at home.
Yeah, they had like a 300 mil bench.
You just got to accept them. Like, fuck everyone else. Just focus on us. Win our games, do what we need to do. Do not even look at them. We will have our chances to take points from them. We will play City. City will play Liverpool. Spurs plays all three of us. Like, there are games in these run of 14 for each team where points can and will be dropped. And I have every faith that Liverpool will get to the Europa final. They will get to the cups. You know, these teams are going to go further along in their competitions and they're going to have congestion. And they will be impacted.
So will we, because we're getting to Wembley.
Wembley? Oh, is that where the final for the Champions League is?
You didn't know that?
I think I did, but for some reason I just thought FA Cup because I think of Wembley as our home ground.
No,
owners of the FA Cup,
Champions League final, we will be there. But yeah, no, I think that's really nicely said. And on that note, we'll get out of here. Nice one, guys and girls. Thanks a lot for tuning in. It was really, really enjoyable weekend. Things are going good at the moment, so just enjoy it. And if you're watching, if you're listening back, please drop the stream a like, hit that subscribe button. I actually wanted to shout out Pontus, who was at the gym, saying hi from the gym. We'll listen to the audio version later. Just wanted to say hi. Hope you're good, mate. That's everything from us. We'll be back on Friday to preview the Burnley game, hoping to keep this nice run going before the Champions League starts next week. I cannot wait for that.
So excited. Up the Arsenal. Come on, you guys.
That was awful. You need to do that again.
It's because I was catching myself saying up the arse, but I had to stop. I was like, shit, how do I style this one out? Come on, you
up
guys,
the Arsenal.
Up the arse.